Yeah, according to the word, Yahweh spoke on this, right? He spake on this wise. He spake on what? That his Abraham's seed should stay in a strange land. And this is on page. This is in your Bible, right? In Acts 7 and 6. But you could read this also in Yahweh Ben Yahweh book. You are not a nigga. A true history of the world's best kept secret. And on page 45, chapter 4, on page 45, our journey, Jerusalem to Africa. And again, you know what I'm saying? Let's read. Let's read what it says on that page. Due to the Romans murdering us by the millions, we, Hebrew Israelites, were forced to leave our land, called Israel today, and live in our cousins' land, west coast of Africa. West coast of Africa, okay? Here we live a relatively peaceful life, right? Considering the facts that we were refugees. Then one day, over 430 years ago, an event took place that was destined to change our lives like never before in history. An English trader by the name Sir John Hawkins came sailing his ship, the good ship Jesus, along the west coast of Africa in search of the black Hebrews who were prophesied to be brought into slavery as the seed of Abraham. And God, Yahweh Yahweh, spake on this wise, that his Abraham's seed, his descendants, the so-called Negroes, should sojourn, stay in a strange land, America, and that they, our oppressors, should bring them into bondage, slavery, and entreat them evil, slavery, suffering, and death for 100 years, 400 years. Acts 7:6. And entreat them evil, slavery, suffering, and death. 400 years. Acts 7:6. Okay? And when we look at history, right, we see, according to history, you know, white property ownership origins, the reality is they started with free land, free labor, legal protection, generational inheritance, white male property ownership, and in early America was not a fair race, but one group starts with land, labor, law, and weapons, and everyone else starts controlled and shut out. Then the winner write history books calling it goodness. Most of these white property owners got land through government backed theft or robbery. Indigenous land was took or seized by war, broken deals or treaties, and forced removal, then dealt out again to white settlers through laws like Homestead Act, free or extremely cheap land, colonial land grants, state giveaways to veterans and settlers. So And also, enslaved Africans could not obviously own land, or indigenous people could not own land the same way as could not own land the same way in the U.S. But that's according to the history of uh, white property ownership origins. But what I read to you before was from the yellow book. This yellow book right here. Right? And again, man, Romans murdered us by the millions. Us is the Hebrew Israelites. So that's how we was forced to leave our land, called Israel. And like I said, this was from page 45, from You Are Not a Nigga, A True History of the World's Best Kept Secret. So you see what we found out and learned from Acts? Now let's go to the second page, because this is a pretty short chapter. So we might as well finish it off, okay? So I just finished reading to y'all the history aspect, or what they talk about, how they view it in history. But the first meaning I was giving y'all was from the word from this yellow book. And so we're going to continue. Sir John Hawkins had been missioned by Queen Elizabeth of England to go to Africa, kidnap our black Hebrew Israelite forefathers with the help of our half brothers, the Ishmaelites, called Arabs today, and our cousins, the Hamites, called Africans today. He, Sir John, was to bring our Hebrew Israelite forefathers to the New World and make them slaves. When John Hawkins saw our people, Hebrews, living there in such a highly civilized state, he realized that his assignment would require great skill and dexterity, unless his plans be uncovered and his head taken off with the sword. Therefore, John Hawkins moved with calculated precision among our black Hebrew foreparents. Shalom, peace. He said, greeting, our foreparents in our own Hebrew language. This greeting, coming from a stranger, shocked some and charmed others. Some viewed him with suspicion, while others were quickly taken in by him. Many of our black Hebrew elders were quick to see through this seemingly peaceful invasion and began to warn our black Hebrew foreparents not to accept this man with his forked tongue. Nevertheless, as our Bible history proves, there are always the gullible and the unsuspecting who are readily taken in by a shrewd and crafty deceiver. It was to these people that John Hawkins made his strong pitch. Our journey, Jerusalem to Africa. After gaining their confidence, he began to tell fascinating stories of a land he had visited, where there was much gold. He promised our Hebrew foreparents that if they would follow him to this new land, they would receive more gold for their labor than they ever earned in their own country called Israel and Palestine today. This appealed to many, and they began to go aboard his ship. They began to go aboard his ship. Forgive me. For saying the wrong word. Called the good ship Jesus. Little did they realize they were going to be sold into slavery to the worst heathen on earth, to be made to work like animals for a long, long, long time. Genesis 15:13. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. St. John 8:32. And this was page 46 and 47. All right?